What's going on, guys? This is going to be a quick little installation video of the DC Sports cold air intake. Finally get a chance to rip out the old short ram, and as you can see the difference, previous videos where this one used to sit, this one sits way up under there, so no more hot air getting sucked in by the engine, because this one used to sit right next to the header. Also, a couple differences. You can see, I'm trying to hold this up, you can see this one has a stupid port, which I don't have in my other videos because I deleted it, but I put it back just for this video. This one goes directly to the throttle body. That one has that stupid port, and what that port is for this right here. This is what I was talking about as far as the resonator goes. This actually just comes off, and that's actually how I had it. I think it looks cleaner. This car came with 3 resonators. The original one came with the stock intake, which I think most cars have. They sit inside the bumper. This one has an additional one, which is this one right here. It's literally just an air box. And if you go to Mitsubishi Motors corporate, and find the press release for this motor, the head engineer actually talks about noise reduction and using this stupid box, which in my opinion really doesn't do anything, because stock it's still noisier than your Toyota or Honda, but that's whatever. And then on the previous video I talked about how there's that resonator, which the this motor also was in the Lancer Rally Art and the Galant, and they have a different intake manifold. They don't have that. That's another resonator which you can block off, which is still in the works. I'm going to do that next. But anyways, that aside, big difference when I was installing something that I just wanted to do a little PSA on. The hole for the mass airflow sensor on the engine fits a lot better. It's the actual proper size it should be. This is my second DC Sports intake, and they always seem to have fitment issues. Fit and finish isn't the best, but I've already damaged it a little bit. So basically, if you look up close, you can see right there the O-ring is kind of damaged, or my finger is. It's torn apart. But the O-ring is supposed to sit inside that little lip right there, and for a proper fitting intake, it sits in there and seals no issue. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just mine or all the DC Sports. I saw a review online and someone talked about how they had to modify theirs. So just a heads up for anybody that has an Eclipse, if you insert your mass airflow sensor with that O-ring where it's supposed to be, it just physically will not seat. You cannot get this in properly. You won't be able to get it in properly. The O-ring won't seal. And I noticed the car idling a little bit weird. I mean, I won't say it was hesitating, but it was idling a little bit different. I don't know if the ECU has to learn the new different airflow. Shouldn't matter, but basically my O-ring wasn't sealing completely. So a trick that I found was, if you can lift the O-ring off that little lip right there and push it back against the housing, the actual sensor itself, when you put it down, it'll give you a proper seal. So I don't know if you can see right there, but that's the O-ring right there. And then when you go to put the screws in, it pushes the sensor down, so it seals it properly. I don't know if DC Sports designed it to be that way, but if you leave it where it's supposed to be, back inside that lip, it's not going to seal. It's going to fold up. The O-ring has too much play in it, so it's just not going to seat right. So like I said, I saw a couple reviews of people that had a similar issue. One guy said he had to modify it to make it fit. I didn't have that problem before, but with my last intake, it was for a Sentra, a B15 Sentra. But I figured I'd let that know. Anyone who's like a beginner at this might have some issues and might not know what to do, but that's basically the easiest trick, just to fold that little O-ring back to the back of the housing, and should give you a proper seal once you tie them down, put those screws on. As far as the installation goes, it's pretty straightforward. I'm sure there's other, well, I don't know if there's other videos on YouTube, but all the stock crap here gets ripped out. In my case, I already had a short ram intake, so for this one, it was like stupid easy. These two clamps get removed. That was already blocked off. I still had the little ghetto cap sealing that. And then in this case, the other little clamp ring is missing, but there's two clamps. And then a little coupler right there. Put your two hose clamps. You want one side closer to the throttle body, the other side on the actual intake itself. Obviously your vacuum line. This is not the PCV valve. For anybody that's wondering, that's your PCV valve right there. So that's not the PCV valve, but it does vacuum out. And then that's where your mount goes. Now this is so hard to remember because I literally haven't been stock for like over 2.5 years. I haven't had the stock intake, I should say. The motor's still stock, but I think this goes to the stock intake, but basically you need to reuse that bracket, and that's where your little vibration mount mounts to. There we go. Focus. There. So a little vibration mount that comes with it. You mount it right there and basically sandwich it in between this little nut right here and an actual rubber mount, and this is what sits on it. So this pretty much holds it steady. And big difference is tucked way up under the bumper, if you can see there. So no more hot air come over here. When you're installing this, I actually thought you were going to be able to just do it from the engine bay. No, you're going to have to take your wheel off. So there's two, at least in my case, in my car, I don't know if anybody's different, I had two regular screws here. There's Phillips head screws, take those out. These two are just your regular clips right here. Mine says Mercedes for some reason, which is weird. Strange. And then there's 1, 2, 3. I'm sure these little push clips. By the way, don't even try and screw them out. I don't know why they have a Phillips head on them. They won't screw out. So just pop them off just with a regular Phillips head. When you pull it back, there's the intake. So, like I said, I put it on yesterday. It's not tying down, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tying down the clamps right there. And as you can see, I mean, it's tucked way up under, right behind the fog light housing. I don't have fog lights, but there's a weird little sensor bracket there for them for whatever reason. But yeah, as you can see, it's way past behind the way out of the engine bay. So definitely a big improvement. The short ram makes you lose power. You're definitely losing power over stock. This is really, do not get a short ram, just go cold air right away. And for anybody wondering who's worried about water retention, if you can see that, it's pretty much sealed. I mean, you have your splash guard up there, two holes right there. This is completely covered, and then when you put that back on, it's going to be completely sealed. So water is the least of my worries. I'm not even worried about it. Headlights right above there. So pretty much a simple install video. Put the coupler back on, connect the filter, and then tighten down the two bolts. I'm doing this next. My stupid locking rings are loose and the front suspension's clanking, but that'll be a different video. But that's about it. I really hate how this stupid, I just hate how the 4G69 valve cover looks. I think it's just ugly. And I don't know why my valve cover's coming out like a yellowish color. It's actually just like a Nissan 350Z orange. But I think it looks better without it, personally. So that's it right there. And that's how it looks. Forgot to mention, you need to I'll do this obviously when I tighten the screws down, but obviously that has to clip back in, obviously. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching.